So I'm hoping that I have this video set up okay and we can get through this part. I'm actually going to try to film several videos today while the littles are out of the house. So, although I might need their help, which is kind of funny. But anyways, I'm filming this because if you happen to see my Witches and Wizards Small Ephemera Collage Tags digital kit on Etsy or in my prior video or on Instagram, if you follow me on social media, I have actually created an add-on. I really love the semi-creepiness of this kit, the fact that it could be used for Halloween, but also for my Wizardories as far as wizards and witches and all of that good stuff. So anyways, I really loved it, and I wanted more. So I thought maybe you'd want more too. So the new kit actually also includes some digital papers, and what I've done is I've actually printed double-sided. If you have a printer that will do double-sided printing, then this will allow you to have double-sided pages, which I've really gotten spoiled because I use a lot of Tim Holtz, and I like the double-sided so that when you create something, it's on both sides. So this makes it kind of nice. You can print them single-sided or you can print them double-sided. I actually printed this one on some Nina Solar White cardstock. That's what I've printed all of these new printables on. This is all of those Edison bulbs. As you can see, it's not necessarily Halloween, but it's got that old vintagey deal that you definitely could use for a Halloween setup. And this is a pharmaceutical old pharmaceutical deals with all the numbers and everything. I just thought it looked really cool. So anyways, you will get 7 different papers, some black, some white. I think there's even a cream colored one in there. You could definitely color them if you wanted to. So that's kind of cool too. You could go in with your Copics or your watercolors or whatever and color them in if you wanted to add some color to them. So I kept them black and white, but there will be, I think there are 7 different printable pages, 8.5 by 11. In there. So that's in the digital kit. And then we also have some journal cards with, it's the same pharmaceutical design, except I've got cream, I've got black. We have some library pockets, which I'm going to do another video today showing you how to fold these library pockets. What I did was I actually came into a stash of actual library pockets. My daughter's a librarian, and I took one of them apart, scanned it, and then just used that shape. Very, very easy to fold. Remember that these are single-sided only, unless you wanted to print one of the papers on the back side, which I thought of that after I had already printed all of these out, which made me sad because I wish that I had done that. So here's that pharmaceutical design again on the library pocket. Also on 2 rectangular tabs. These tabs fit the Spellbinders Tab One sent by Tammy Tudoro, and so do these circular ones with the Edison bulbs. Those fit the circular tab in that Spellbinders kit. And I will also, in the same video that I do the library pocket folding, I will show you how I line these up because they are not hollowed out. They are not, they're actually solid, so you kind of have to line them up. I don't always get them perfect. So you could cut these out by hand if that was too much of a pain for you, or if you don't have those dies. Then here's another library pocket. This is the black with the pharmaceuticals. And here's a tonic, Dismal Swamp tonic that I've done a tag for. The Da Vinci Skulls, which is one of my favorites. It's a page out of a book on Da Vinci, and these are some of his sketches. And I love the Da Vinci sketches of the skull and all. And that was actually an old book that I picked up at a library sale, so it was actually scanned from there. Here's another pharmaceutical tab, and this circular one with the brain and the skull. I love those. Then here's another library pocket. So that's 3 library pockets. Here is another circular round tab. This is of an old antique image of the moon. Here are Da Vinci skulls again on a gray background, and here are some tabs that have ledger on them. These are just really kind of fun. Then we get to the journal cards. Now these journal cards are created, you could create a page out of them if you had a small book, like a passport book or whatever. You could actually create pages or tip-ins or whatever. I actually created them as far as size because I have these Project Life nesting dies. I picked them up at Michael's a while back, probably on the clearance aisle. But it has a large journaling card and the smaller journaling card. They are the same sizes as the Project Life cards. So these actually would fit in a Project Life binder. But I actually use these as my sizing element for these journaling cards. You can certainly use these dies if you have them. Use any rounded rectangle dies that you might have, or you can cut them out by hand. And I've done all of those. But anyways, we've got, I believe this is witch hazel, witch hazel, so that's included in here. We have a skull and some ribs on some ledger background, so those are two of the large journaling cards. On this one we have a collage of the moon on the background of a ledger with a black border. We have the Edison print in white and in black. I love this that looks like an x-ray. Love it. Excuse me. Here we have a large journaling card with more of the Da Vinci skull sketches. And I've actually just put a topper on there, which is a little bit of from a French ledger image. And then this is my own artwork on a I think it's a French dictionary page that I created that I drew this eye. You'll see that as well in the tag kit. It's one of my favorite images. And then the Da Vinci sketches, only it's dark gray with a white foreground with a white print like that. And then finally you have, excuse me, finally you have a large journaling card with a border of that same skull and rib. And then you have two small journaling cards with my sorting hat artwork. One of them is the black in the background, and then the other one is a cream. The background of this is actually a page from a potions book, so it kind of fits that whole thing. So there you have it. You've got a bunch of small journaling cards, a bunch of large journaling cards. You have tabs, a bunch of tabs in both round and rectangular, and you have 7 digital papers that you can print to your heart's content. You can color, you can double-sided print, you can do all of that. So that is the new Witches and Wizards Digital Ephemera Add On Kit that goes with the fun little tags that I created, tag kit that I created and put up a week or so ago for sale. So it's going to be going up on the Etsy store soon. And then, like I said, I want to show how I try to line these up. It does not always work. It's not perfection, because I'm far from perfection, and it is difficult to do. So if it seems like a pain in the butt to you, then just cut your tabs by hand. But I am going to try to show you how these are a little bit more difficult. As you can see that they're solid, and I've got the round one. So I've pulled out my Sidekick, my Sizzix Sidekick by Tim Holtz. I love this. I love this. This is my favorite. And I've had people say, well, you have a big shot. Why in the world would you need the Sidekick? Because, you know, it's little, and it is little, and it is limited to whatever will fit in there. But honestly, it's so much easier. I can keep it right on my desk. I don't have to pull out that big shot every time I need a tab or a small tag or tickets. Now the tickets, all of the tickets will fit through here. So it was definitely worth it for me, especially with my limited craft space. So anyways, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to try to show you how to line this up. Now, as you can see, I mean, you could do that, but you're going to end up, sometimes it gets off to the side. So I kind of try to look at the edge. If you look at the edge, you can kind of see where the cutting edge is and the edge of your print. I try to line that up, but then I've got a light over here. If you hold it up to the light and let the light shine through, and I don't think you can probably see that, but, well, let me see. I'll use this. So if you put it up to a light source, you can see that you can see through it, and it helps you line it up, because if it's not lined up, you can see the shadow of your print. So at least you know that it's all inside of that, your print is all inside of that area. And like I said, if you do that and then you do the little trick that I showed you about lifting the side and seeing where the cutting edge is, if you do both of those things, chances are it's going to be somewhat close. So I'm going to grab my washi tape. Again, washi tape is a must for me, and I really shouldn't be using this. This is actually beautiful tape to use in my junk journal, and I don't know why I'm just... But it was there, and I grabbed it, and I could always buy more. Alright, and then we're just going to pop this on our sidekick. One thing I've noticed with the sidekick is if you push it right up close to the edge of your cutting plate, it doesn't want to cut. So I try to push it back a little bit so that it has some lead, and then can run it through. And I run it through this way, and then I run it through that way just to be sure. And let's see. Oh, I don't expect perfection. I very seldom get perfection with this, and I'm not going to this time. I can already see that I was off a little bit. And we need my tool to hit these little spots and pop that out of there. Not too bad, because I'll show you what I'm going to do. Like I said, I inked the edges, so I'm going to show you how I ink the edges. I'm going to pull out my Tim Holtz Distress. This is permanent. This is an archival ink. So when I put this on and it dries, it's permanent. So if I use wet media on top of it, that's not going to go anywhere. This is my, I don't know what I would do without this. I love the distress colors, the vintage photo, and this is espresso, and this is black soot and hickory smoke. They're perfect. They're perfect for edging, and they're perfect for antiquing, and I love that I can put it on here and it's not going to go anywhere. So we're going to use the vintage photo, and I'm just going to show you. Oh, look, it just disappears. Oh, look. No one's even ever going to know that I didn't line that tab up right. So as long as it's not too bad, you know, and it's just a tiny bit, you're just never going to know. It hides it perfectly. And it's like, whoop, 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 perfect hidden. Nobody knows that you can't line up, you die. So if doing it this way is just too much work, certainly cut them out by hand, but I love being able to use these dies and get that perfect cut, because I'm not so great at cutting by hand. So, and not only that, but I love getting the more use out of my dies. I mean, dies are not cheap, and to be able to get more use by creating digital files that I can, of my own making, that I can use in my junk journals, just makes me happy. So there you have it. That's how you line those up. You do the same thing with the circle ones. I have a little bit more of a problem getting the circle ones centered, not gonna lie, but I do both the same way, and then if the edges are off, then I just ink them either in, for example, this gray one, or even this one, I might do with hickory smoke on the edges, or black soot, just to hide any white that might be around the edges. So there you have it. That's how to use these solid tab dies to cut out your digital ephemera from my kit. Okay, so I'm back. I got my tabs all cut out. You saw me cut this one. Neither of these ones cut out perfectly, but as you can see by inking the edges, they're usable. So I don't freak about being perfect. I used to. I used to cut and cut. It used to drive me crazy, and you know, then I realized, hey, that's part of art, is not actually being perfect. So it actually kind of gives a cool look to this one. This one is really off. I told you I had a hard time with the circles, but it's still usable, and it's going to look great in a junk journal somewhere. So there are those. Now I'm going to show you how to fold this library pocket, and this is a library pocket, and I've printed script onto it. So let's see, what have I got for kit paper here? I think this probably would look kind of cool on the back of here. So I'm going to, do we want the Edison light bulb? Do we want part of the hand? I think I want part of the Edison light bulb, to be honest. So I am going to, simple. I'm just going to draw around this and cut it out by hand. Oh yes, I cut this out by hand. I did. So that's all I'm gonna do. And then we're just gonna do the same thing here. Just cut it out by hand, just like I did the pocket. Go down this way. I have to say I do love that it's double-sided, so I can choose which way I want it to go. But anyway, so this is the library pocket. And like I said, my daughter's a librarian, so she brought me home some library pockets, and I undid one. They were a little bit larger. But as you can see, this one that I printed out on manila, and then I marked exactly where all of the fold lines were. But the thing is, you don't really need to have them printed on there in order to be able to tell where they need to go. So I'm going to show you with I'm going to move all of my scissors here out of the way, my pencil, and I'm going to pull out my trusty and this is what we're going to do. So really it's easy enough to figure out where the first ones are going to go. You want to have this right up against the edge, and then you're going to want to find the one that's closest here, and just so that it goes right down the side, right, just like that. So that's easy enough. And then on this other side, do the same thing. Find the one that's closest. So this happens to be, so if you cut this out, this happens to be at the 1/2 inch mark and the 3 1/8 mark. And you put those in there. So those are your two sides. And then you're going to turn it this way. And we're going to do a 1/2 inch here. Right there. And then right below, we're going to do right here at the 3, because that's at the 1/2 inch. So at the 3, we're going to go right across here. So when it's going lengthways, you want it at the 1/2 and the 3. And when it's going this way, you want it at the 3 1/8 and the 1/2. There you have your fold lines. So then we want to just really get those folded just like that. And then this one. And there we go. That's all we need for the board. Now I use my art glitter glue for this. You could use anything. You could use your score tape. You could use even a glue stick or whatever. But for me, I've got my art glitter glue here. I love it because it sticks really fast and it sticks really well. So before I start to do any folding, I have to do a little more cutting. What I want to do is where all of these intersect on the sides, I want to cut these little squares out. So there and right here, we're going to cut those little squares. This is a little bit more than a little square. And you could keep this as a flap. I've done both. I've kept this as a flap before and just gone in and done that. But I'm going to cut it off this time. The flaps sometimes keep things from going down into the pocket quite as nicely. So the next thing I want to do is I want to take that piece that I cut out because I want to be able to trim. And we're going to put some glitter glue on the back of that. And I'm just going to go in like a X. I just want to make sure that it's going to stick down, but I don't need an overabundance of glue. And I'm going to line it up here at the top. And that's another thing I like about the glitter glue is that I can move it a little bit. It's a wet glue, so if I need to move it just a slight bit, I can. And then I'm just going to, I don't even know if I've got anything to trim. Nope, barely anything to trim. And it really doesn't matter. You don't have to trim this part because it's not going to show. It's totally on the back. But yeah, some things I let go, some things I like to trim up. So there we go. So we put our piece of paper. Now you can definitely leave that blank. You can just leave it blank and maybe ink it or whatever. I mean, if you're going to have something in it that it's not going to show, you could use your stamps and stamp it, whatever you wanted to do. I just happened to take that piece of paper because I like that design. So the next thing you're going to want to do is this needs to be, because it is going to come up, let me turn this around. Because this is going to come up, you want that folded over. So we're going to use a little bit of glitter glue right here, right along here, just enough to hold that down. And that's going to go there. All right, now I need to trim this again because that's driving me crazy. There we go. I think I got it. All right, so then once this is all glued down, you're just going to fold it up, and on the back side, we're going to glue these flaps. Just as simple as that. Now you could glue this and hide them, but because this is going to go up against the back of a page, nobody's going to see these, and the actual library pockets that I got from my daughter, they're folded just that way because it goes up against the back. So I did it exactly the same way, and I like the way that it turns out. So then you're going to do this. If you need your bone folder to make sure that that's going to lay flat, do it. You want it to lay flat. Then pop some of that glue on there, whatever glue you're using. Fold that over, and again, I like to use my bone folder on this one just to make sure that it lays flat. And there you have it. There's your library pocket. And what I like to do, because, you know, I love the finished edges. Now you could leave it just like that. I really like the way that that looks. You could leave it just like that, or let's see, you could take your corner chomper and pop that in there, chomp those corners, and round it off, and there you have it. And like I said, with this background, you could add a little bit of color in there if you wanted some color, if you didn't want that stark black and white, but it's that easy to take those library pockets and you wouldn't need a scoreboard. If you've got something else that you score with, or you could just fold them over so that they fit, it's not hard. I have the scoreboard and it makes it easier, and so I use it. But there is your library pocket. Thanks for joining me on this video. If you liked this video, if you found it helpful or informative or fun or whatever, please give it a thumbs up. And if you enjoy my content and you want to stay up to date with my Etsy shop releases, my digital art, my actual art, my Wizardories and all of that good stuff, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Love for you to do that. I also have a website, tmariehilton.com, and from there you can get to my Artful Geek Girl blog, where I blog things like this. And you can also follow me on Instagram, where I'm T. Marie Hilton, and you'll always get the latest news there as well and get to see sneak peeks of items that I'm working on. So thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will be back soon with another video. Bye-bye.